If you're driving in your car, you're at home, you're in your cubicle, thank you for allowing us to be a part of your lunchtime on Community Matters. I wonder if you guys are still eating your leftovers today, Tuesday after Thanksgiving, about 4 or 5 days after Thanksgiving. Maybe it's not too wise to be still eating your leftovers from Thanksgiving. If you are, then I'll be praying for you. I know earlier this week, Glenn talked about how long can you wait? How long can you eat your leftovers after Thanksgiving? But listen, I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving regardless of if you spend it time with your family and friends. It's always a good opportunity. Thanksgiving is to eat and fellowship. My favorite holiday. I don't know about you. And of course, my wife threw down with the turkey that was just falling. It was just falling off the bone, just how I like it, juicy and succulent. She put a bag over the turkey, and it was seasoned all the way to the core. So I enjoyed my Thanksgiving meal. Congratulations to my wife, who always throws it down on Thanksgiving Day. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving as well. But listen, we've got some new things happening this week. In the news is World Cup time. I know here in Central Florida, the World Cup may not be the number one sport, but if we're going to watch soccer/football at any time, this is the time that we're going to be doing it. And USA plays this afternoon at 2 o'clock. USA plays this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Wondering if you're going to be watching it or looking at it, because soccer/football is the number one sport in the world. Everybody watches it across the globe. If you have your country in it or not, you are definitely, or many people are keeping their eyes on it, paying attention to what's happening. I know I am rooting for USA this afternoon. And of course, always rooting for the African nations, Cameroon, Ghana, Senegal. Always rooting for those countries, bring a lot of life and spice to the game. Also been a lot of controversy over where the World Cup's being held, over there in Qatar. Qatar is the country where all these soccer/football games are happening. And it's amazing to see how wealthy Qatar is with all of that gas, natural gas and oil over there. They are one of the wealthiest nations in the world. And they spent over $1 billion, billions of dollars, preparing the stadiums and preparing the infrastructure for these World Cups in 2022. But again, we're so glad that you could be a part of us here in WOKB 1680 Community Matters. And again, this is the attorney Sean Smith with you. I want to remind you that this show is sponsored by the law offices of Sean R.H. Smith, PA, where we deal with wills, trusts, probate, guardianship. You can give us a call at 321-295-7801, 321-295-7801. Oftentimes in our community, estate planning is not one of the number one things we think about, and that's surprising because especially during this holiday season where we're spending time with family, we're eating with family, we want to be with family, we're thinking about family. We would hope that estate planning would be a priority for us, that we would want to make sure that we leave a legacy to our family, that we don't burden our family with our ailments, with our ills, with our issues, and that the proper documentation is necessary so that we can be taken care of, but not only that we can leave a legacy to our family and our friends. It's amazing that when we get together, we get together in homes, and many of these homes are we own. But do we have a place and plan that if we perish or if we're incapacitated, that the bills will still be taken care of, or that it will be passed to our loved ones without having to go through the timely, the expensive process of probate. And of course, that is something that we offer in educating our community in what things are necessary, educating our community in what you need, some simple things that you can put in place. And we explain it in a manner and in a way that is easy to understand. We explain it in a manner that you will walk away being knowledgeable with what you need and understanding that it can be done at a reasonable cost to assist you with your affairs. It's amazing that when you went to eat during this past Thanksgiving lunch period, you probably sat down with people that will be a part of your estate plan. You probably sat down with people who could be your agent in a power of attorney. Somebody who can, if something happened to you, would be able to make sure that your bills are paid, make sure that the light's being paid, make sure that the water bill is being paid, making sure that the mortgage is being paid, will have the necessary legal authority to do things on your behalf. You probably sat down and ate with individuals who could be your healthcare surrogate. That would be that individual that if you went to the hospital and you weren't able to make decisions on your behalf, the hospital could give them a call and they would be legally authorized to make medical decisions on your behalf. These are individuals that when you went to your Thanksgiving meal, you probably sat down and ate with and looked across from them, and individuals that you trust. Talking about individuals that you trust, you probably ate with individuals that could be your trustee for your trust if you passed away, or a trustee for your trust if you were incapacitated, a co-trustee that could assist making sure that your wealth and assets were taken care of. If you were with your children or grandchildren, you probably ate with your beneficiaries. Well, what are beneficiaries? Your beneficiaries were people that you would pass on your estate to, whether that be your home or the money in your bank account or your 401k or your life insurance. But do you have a plan in place that these individuals would be able to quickly, easily, and smoothly receive these assets without any court intervention, without any extensive litigation involved? Do you have a plan in place to make sure that your loved ones are taken care of, and that and that they know what to do, or that you know what's going to happen when you pass away? Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper." And if God says he has plans for us, why don't we have plans for ourselves? Why don't we have plans for our children, for our beneficiaries when it comes to our estate plan? Why is that not a priority for us? Oftentimes we put it off because, one, we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know what to do. We don't know what documents we need. We don't know what paperwork is necessary for an estate plan, and so we put it off. But I'm here to tell you that you can give us a call at 321-295-7801, and we can educate you. That's the first thing that we would do, educate you with what things that you need. We have a webinar, free on-demand webinar at our website, www.seanrhsmithlaw.net, that will assist you, that will instruct you, that will break down to you the things that you need, the things that may be important for your estate plan. We'll go over different terminologies and explain them to you, so when you come to sit down and talk with us, you will know what we're talking about when we use the term probate. You will know what we're talking about when we use the term guardianship. You will know what we're talking about when we use the term deed, quitclaim deed, or ladybird deed. You will know what we're talking about when we use the term trust or will. And I often first start off by telling our clients and individuals that a will is not a way to avoid probate. A will is not a way to avoid probate. Like, what do you mean, attorney? What do you mean a will is not a way to avoid probate? Of course I need to have a will, or somebody died without a will. Well, a will is not a way to avoid court intervention. If you have a will in place right now and you own a home and you pass away, that home is going to have to go through probate in order to be transferred to your beneficiaries, whether it be your children or your grandchildren or your nieces or your nephews. That will have to go through a court process to transfer title of that home, to be put into the name of your children. Well, what is that court process going to look like? Well, first of all, it's going to cost some money. You're going to have to retain counsel. Second of all, you're going to have to pay a filing fee. You're also going to have to pay a notice to creditors. You're going to have to pay all these type of fees to begin and initiate that court process. But then not only that, it opens it up to litigation, going through probate. It opens it up to creditors coming in in and asking for their money. It opens up to a long, extensive process, 6 to 12 months, in order to complete the probate process, in order to change title from one person to another. So we want to make sure that you avoid this. We want to make sure that that's not a part of your plan, and why it should not be a part of your plan. So that's why we educate individuals on these different aspects of the law. That is very important, but many people don't realize how important it truly is. And so that's why we have on our website an on-demand webinar. You can go to our website, put your name and information in, and listen to this information free of charge, so that you're educated on what things may be important to you and your family when considering an estate plan, what things you need in place for your estate plan. I want to remind you that you can go to our website at www.seanrhsmithlaw.net, www.seanrhsmithlaw.net, and click on demand webinar and watch that webinar. In addition, if you want us to come to your location, whether it be to your church, whether it be to your mosque or synagogue, or to just your group of network of individuals that need to know about this, they need to know this information, you can give us a call at 321-295-7801. We will gladly come at a date and time that meets with our schedule to educate you in terms of everything that you need. We can do a live presentation for you so that you can ask the questions that you may have and get a more intimate discussion on what an estate plan would mean, and what are the different documents that you would need in terms of an estate plan that would meet with your needs. So again, we want to remind you that you can give us a call at 321-295-7801 if you want a live presentation wherever you may be, at your church or any other fellowship group that you gather with. But often during this time, we talk about the week in review, what's been happening this week that is relevant to us, that is important to us, that may poke our interest. So some of the things that have been happening this week, touched on early, is the World Cup that's taking place, with USA getting ready to play at 2 o'clock versus Iran. So that should be an interesting match. And there's a political background in history with us playing Iran. I remember when we were growing up, when we would talk about countries from the Middle East, the Iran-Contra affair, the Iran-Iraq war. Iran played a significant piece in our political stance in what was taking place. And so now we're going to be playing them on the football field this afternoon at 2 o'clock. And many of us, of course, most of us are going to be rooting for the USA. So we'll see what happens. Glad to have Dan, my brother from another mother.
Hey.
So what's happening in the week in review, Dan? What is happening in the week in review?
There's a lot of going on in the week in review. The person who shot up the
Walmart.
Not
the Walmart.
No, who shot up in Buffalo.
In Buffalo.
Yeah, he got convicted, I think this week, yesterday, and he pled guilty. Which I just wonder what else he could have
pled out to.
Yeah, right. So I guess our hearts go out to the families and the victims. At least there's a little justice served.
A little bit. So what did he get? Did he get life?
Yeah, he got life. Multiple life sentences.
Okay. So they spared. So he was spared the death penalty.
Correct.
So that's why he pled out for life in prison.
But I'm not sure on the federal level if it's a hate crime like that. Is there any death sentences?
Well, if the state took care of it with life, then there may be certain circumstances that the feds will come in and do something. And we saw that with that case in, I believe it was Georgia, where the feds came in and they had their own separate hate crime that they were also punished with as well. But it all depends upon prosecutorial discretion at that point in time, whether or not they feel, okay, well, he's got multiple life sentences. What would it be worth? Is there any statement that we want to make by stepping in and charging them again? And that would involve consultation with the families, the families of the victims, as well as looking at, is there enough evidence to prove that this was, what elements in regards to the hate crime are out there? Is there any Facebook post? Is there anything on the phone which would allow someone to prove the element of hate in those particular cases?
Yeah, something else that's been happening in review, is we coming into winter season, and there was a lot of people who traveled for Thanksgiving. It was pre-COVID numbers, and a lot of still a lot of delays in the airlines, but it wasn't as many as it was before. So they're getting better, but people, they're ready to travel. They're ready. They've been pent up. So in China, they got this no tolerance. If you're positive, you have to test pretty much every day. And if you're positive, they isolate you. And it's interesting that they've been protesting there because they've just, the people are tired. They're tired of being pent up. So, they're trying. This is pretty much new for China to be. So many people are protesting, and they're protesting because there's no flexibility in, okay, we're going to vaccinate you, vaccine as well as isolate, or we're going to let you kind of get to some type of normalcy. So people are just frustrated, and they've been protesting, and I guess a lot of people are reporting, or reporters are reporting, well, why do you test if you're not really vaccinating the people? So there's a huge discrepancy in the tests compared to the vaccinations. So they're testing more people and say, you got it, we're going to isolate you, but they're not vaccinating the people. So it's like people are really frustrated, so now they're trying to ramp up their vaccinations. And I think that, it goes hand in hand. You can't isolate without vaccinating.
Well, I guess people feel like, I got my first vaccine.
Well, I'm talking about China. These are people who
got
no vaccine.
They have no vaccine.
Right. So they just been isolating them. And in their isolation, you have to stay indoors.
Right.
So the U.S. consulate was saying to the American citizens over there, at least have 14 days of food.
So if you have to be isolated, you got 14 days of
14
food
days
to hold you.
So hey, I understand they want zero tolerance, but I guess people get tired and frustrated. You have to have something to go along with it. Thank God we've kind of mitigated certain things where more people have gotten vaxxed. Even those who've gotten vaxxed one time, that's better than no time.
Right.
And you can get out and go to work.
Some of us have gotten vaccinated. We got booster 1, booster 2, booster
3 and 4.
Which booster we on now? 5 and 6?
No, 4.
We're on 4.
Yep, I got my 4.
4th booster.
Yep.
Now, if you didn't get 1 and 2 booster, do you still have to go through 1, 2, 3, or just does this 4th booster have everything in it?
Well, the thing is, they keep a record. So you have a record card, hopefully, that they've given you.
Yeah.
And it lets the pharmacist know, or the nurse, doctor, whoever's doing this vaccination, which dose is this and which shot is this.
Okay.
So then, even if you don't have it on you, you may have it in their file.
So why is it? Here's an interesting question. Why is it that China is having all these protests, right? In America, is it because even though we have COVID here in the United States, we're not isolating as they are in China?
Well, we've kind of mitigated, mitigate meaning figured it out, that, okay, people who are vaxxed, and the other treatments, that you can go back to work. You know, you can mask up still. You can, because it has gone down. So now it may go up in this season, but at least it's been mitigated and it's been managed.
Right,
and
people
this is managed care, literally.
People aren't dying at the numbers that they used to be.
Exactly.
From COVID.
Correct.
So you think we've reached herd immunity? You're probably not qualified to answer that question, are you?
A little bit.
Well, you do have a healthcare background.
Yeah. Yes, I do. Have we reached it? Probably. In some areas in the States, yes. In other areas, no, because it's still it's a numbers game. It's those who have gotten the vaccination in areas where they will do, and then there's heavily populated areas that hasn't. There's other areas, depending on where if the population is not so high, and then you have that immunity because it's not spreading a lot,
right?
Or if the people have gotten vaccine, then it's kind of leveled out. So it's a lot to consider. I still say follow those CDC guidelines, cover up, not just because of COVID, but because of the flu. Flu is really rampant too,
right?
And I know. I didn't get any colds in years.
Did you get the flu shot?
No, I didn't get the flu shot.
Okay,
so, but that's a personal matter too. But it's just interesting what's happening in China. It's like they're isolating without increasing the vaccination.
Well, from a political standpoint, the governor here in Florida ran on how open he kept Florida.
Yeah, and it helped him out.
From a political standpoint, like, hey, Florida was open. I didn't.
Right, open for business.
Yeah.
Where he was saying in California, they were closed. They were kind of like China.
Right.
Kind of hurt their economy. But hey, they learned and they adjusted.
Right.
So, I mean, you live and you learn.
You do. And,
hopefully China will get it right, because if they don't, it'll affect us because of the shortage, the supplies, demands that we get from China is dependent on their workers too. Speaking of which, another current event that could affect us is avoiding a strike with the railways.
Now, now we don't even think of how important the railways are.
Right. Yes.
In the railways, that kind of moves a lot of
products, all types of products.
Yes, comes into the ports, and then trucks and railways kind of move this product along the United States. So,
well, I heard one of the reporters said that if they go on strike, it will cost Americans $2.something billion loss a week. It will cost $2 billion something a week. So, Biden he negotiated with the rail workers unions, and it was accepted by I think 6, but I think there's two union groups in the rail system that's holding out. Think they want more leave. And I can't, I'm not a rail worker, so and I'm not a union worker, so I'm just speaking on reports. And if there's a rail worker out there, give us a call and give us your thoughts on this. But they want more paid medical leave. So I guess what they have is not enough, so they're looking a little bit more to get more. And it's it's just the timing is, I don't think that they're going to pull one of the episodes that happened with the airline plane
strike.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't strike.
I'm thinking back in Reagan time.
Oh,
the air traffic controllers when they went on strike.
That's too old for many of our listeners.
But I'm
to
just
remember.
saying, no, there's a lot to remember. Reagan fired all of them. He said, "Okay, well, that's what you want to do." Fired them all. And
How old were you when Reagan was over there firing the air traffic controllers? 10, 11?
Yeah, I still read. I read. But anyway, I'm just saying, it could. The government has the power to do those things, but I wouldn't think that Biden would try to do anything like that.
But another hot topic is and the election's not over yet because there's still another election that's going to be happening in Georgia.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
They're voting in Georgia even now.
They have broke records
with what? Early voting.
The early voting.
So I'm going to play both sides of this coin now, right? Because you remember when Georgia put in their new voter registration laws, that there was a lot of arguments saying that, okay, this is going to prevent people from voting. It's going to curb the numbers, but they're voting in record numbers.
Yes, they are. Where there's a will in a vote, there is a way.
And what's interesting to me is how close the election has been and how close this Georgia Senate race has been, and how they're saying even the polls show it just a small separation between the two candidates.
I don't understand.
Why you don't understand that?
I just don't. Because, I'll go in a little bit.
You're going to go in.
A little bit.
Remember the views and opinions.
Right. In as a matter of fact, I'll even the Republican leader, Schumer.
No, that's not the Republican.
What's the Republican leader of the Senate?
Well, the minority leader.
Yeah, he's the minority leader.
Now you got me. I can't remember his name.
We'll look
you messed me up when you said Schumer. Because I know it's not Schumer.
Right.
So what did the Republican minority leader say?
He was saying, and I agree with him, it's about quality candidates. So if you don't have a quality candidate, you're going to have some issues. And then just like in the midterm elections, that's why the Republicans lost. They understood that they didn't have the quality candidates to run against or rival their opponents.
Why don't you believe? Well, let's look at this. You're insinuating and saying that.
Well, I'm
candidate.
I'm telling. Okay, I'm not insinuating. I'm just quoting what we got to get his name.
That the candidate in the Republican candidate in Georgia is not a quality candidate. That's what you're presuming.
Well, no, I'm just saying what
the Senate minority leader said. But you bring out a good point when you look at the database, because there was a governor race at the same time that there was a Senate race, right? And the Governor Kemp, won re-election.
Mitch McConnell,
that's his name. Yeah, you gonna continue to let us listen to that?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
you didn't hear anything.
So the governor in Georgia, Governor Kemp, he was reelected. I think he got over like 200 whatever, but the Senate candidate did not get the same amount as the Republican governor leadership. So people went in and voted for the governor, and then when it came to the senator, they either left it blank or didn't vote for him at all. So maybe that
you have to have a 50% majority. That's why they're having the re-election.
The runoff election is not a re-election. runoff election. So. Yeah, so we'll see.
So what are you saying? You saying all that to say what? I'm just saying what Mitch McConnell said. The reason why the Republicans lost because they didn't have the qualified candidates.
And I'm responding to that. Maybe a piece of evidence on that is the fact that the governor in Georgia was able to win handily. Why wasn't the Senate candidate in the same state able to garner as many votes as the governor did?
I guess based on what Mitch McConnell said, he's right. He's
quality candidate.
Yeah, they didn't. The Republicans didn't pick a quality candidate.
What?
At this point.
Okay. I say, and then you hear Trump is not coming in to
Support him?
campaign with him.
Yeah, he's having dinners and stuff with people.
Yeah, that's another thing.
With Mr. Ye.
Yeah, I mean,
and a vice supreme.
Here's the thing. God says, you will know them by their love, right? God says, you will know my people by their love. Mm-hmm. And we're in this day and age where people make comments and they make statements that question whether or not they love God's people. That's the way. And that's the way I'm going to put it.
Just let me just throw this little caveat on here. Christ ate with the publicans. He ate with
everybody.
He ate with
everybody.
So it's okay if you eat with people, even if it's a Mr. Ye or Kanye. Mm-hmm. You can eat with them. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean you espouse to their behavior. Because a lot of people are coming down on, the fact that the person was at the dinner that you eat. You're eating with this person.
But here's the thing. I know you weren't asking this or going there, but we look at being a political leader, or are you being a spiritual leader? Mm-hmm. And the funny thing, Christ says, my kingdom is not of this world.
So right? There's a difference.
Yeah, and the funny thing, people were looking for Christ to be their political leader. I want you to be king. I'm nominating you. He was out there healing people.
Yeah.
And they were thinking, oh yeah, this is great. When people get, killed in battle, when they get wounded in battle, we got somebody that can heal them.
Heal them.
Bring them. When he fed the 5,000, like, oh.
So we'll never go home.
He could feed the entire army out there on the battle, right? And so, they were looking to make him their king, to make him their prime minister, to make him their premier, to make him their president. And God said, no. My kingdom is not of this world. He told Pilate, like, listen, if my kingdom were of this world, my people, they would have came and they would have fought for me. Mm-hmm. So I say that to say, you're talking about different people eating with the former President Trump, right? Mm-hmm. Who wants to be a political leader, right? Because he's, again, put his hat in for nomination.
Okay.
So when he eats with certain people, they question, okay, do I want this person to be my political leader?
Yeah.
Right? Based upon who they're eating with.
So it's not a spiritual implication.
Right. Christ ate with everybody, right? And he's saying, yeah, I could eat with everybody because I'm not trying to be your political leader. I want to be your spiritual leader. What is the message that I'm trying to tell you, right? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to tell you to love everybody.
That's a great point. Instead of hate.
Right. Because it's like
there's other people at the table who want to talk about hate.
And they talked and they questioned Christ in the same manner. And his point was, okay, how is this person going to change their beliefs? How is this person going to change their ideology if they're not in my company? Right? How are they going to learn of me, right? If they're not with me, right? So that's why he took the tax collector, say, "Hey, listen, I'm going to your house today."
Right.
And people are like, "Oh, he going to the tax collector's house." Then after he ate with the tax collector's like, "You know what? I'm going to return all this money that I've stolen from people." So the message for us is, are we trying to be political leaders or are we trying to be spiritual leaders? Ooh. So when we invite people to eat at our home, are we saying, oh, well, I don't want to see with this individual, I don't want to be seen with that individual? Or am I trying to show them who God is? I was reading this one quote the other day that says, Christ is sitting for his portrait in every disciple. Right? Mm-hmm. Christ is sitting for his portrait in every disciple. Basically, what that means is Christ wants to be seen in me. Mm-hmm. He wants to be seen in you. And so when people see you, they essentially see the portrait of Jesus that's in you.
So the question is, can you do both? Can you be a spiritual and political leader?
Let's ask Daniel. Not you, Daniel.
I was like, I'm asking the question. I can't answer my question.
Look at Daniel. Right? Remember that guy that got thrown in the lion's den, right? He was a political leader, right? And he was appointed his position. He was appointed to his position by those in political authority. And he stayed in position regardless of who was the king, regardless of who was the president, regardless of who was the prime minister. He went through, if he was in today's day and age, he would have gone through
He would have been like Fauci. A lot of administration.
right, through the Bush 1, Bush 2, Reagan, Biden, Obama, Clinton. Yeah, he would have been like. But then Fauci's got a bad political name.
I know why. I don't know why.
In some groups now as well. So and you want to be that type of transcendental figure to where your allegiance and authority is to God, and everything that you do is seen through Him. So everybody can respect that. Everybody can appreciate that. Right.
It's like He doesn't have an agenda.
Yeah, He does. The agenda is just different from your agenda. His agenda is not to seek power and authority. Christ's agenda is to try to help the needy and the poor and the widow and feed the hungry and clothe the naked.
So then you can walk that tightrope. You just have to thread that needle very carefully.
You ain't got to thread nothing. You just need to follow God.
Well, and still threading the needle, because sometimes you got to give unto Caesar what is Caesar, and God what is to God. Sometimes your convictions are called to task.
Yeah, ask Daniel.
Yeah,
his convictions were called to task, and where did that lead him?
In the lion's den.
In the lion's den.
But he was delivered.
Are you willing to be called to the lion's den for your conviction? So that's the needle, I guess. People are like, okay, well, am I willing to do this?
So in that thinking, so there is no it doesn't matter what party you're in. It doesn't, if in the thinking that you're just saying, then it really doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican.
Well, when you think of it, well, what you brought up Fauci. What political party is Fauci a part of? Do you even know?
I don't
Exactly. You understand? Exactly. So you're when you do things, you're not being dictated or directed or being led by your political party. You're not your political party, whatever political party you ascribe to be a part of. You're led and directed by God. So, like I said, when we talk about Fauci, like, oh, is he Democrat or is he Republican? Why don't we know? Because he hasn't been seen. He hasn't put forward his political ideology. He's trying to do. Well, some would argue that what you see him trying to do is what's best for
humankind.
Exactly.
So, but I'm just thinking of those who say, well, I hear what you guys are saying, but I am a registered
whatever, donkey or elephant,
and can I still do the Daniel, not fast, but do what Daniel did? Can I still serve the my country and still do the right thing?
Oh yeah, of course.
So then that's the guiding needle and the compass that you should take.
And I think we have some examples of that. I'm thinking of some examples definitely in the local level where the political person, they don't. You see what they do in the community and what they're trying to do for the well-being of the city or township they're a part of, and it's not so much my political party. And we can see examples of that.
And we won't call no names, but all those who are serving,
right?
We honor their service.
Yeah. So
and that's why I really like how the service people who serve in the military, they say, well, we're not into politics. We just serve our country.
Yeah.
So you can't use us as a political ploy.
No.
Or pawn. And that has worked for us, for our government. And I think that should continue. Because if you see all the other countries that political leaders, military leaders that want to become politicians, they don't want to give up that power. So, Yeah, it's a it's a fine line, but you can walk it, and you can walk it doing that Daniel, not fast, but being dare to be a Daniel.
Yes. Dare to stand alone. You know that song?
Yes, yes.
Dare to have what's the rest of it? Something. And dare to make it known.
Yes.
You didn't learn that in
yeah.
Sunday school.
Yeah, I learned it, but I don't.
But
remember.
you don't forgot it.
I don't
now.
remember the song.
So talk about week in review. Are you still on Twitter? Are you on Twitter? Do you have a Twitter account?
Do I have a Twitter account? Yes, I do have.
You do have a Twitter account. We got Elon Musk, and he's been in the news lately. Mm-hmm. Definitely in terms of Twitter, and a lot of people have been leaving Twitter. Do you plan on leaving Twitter? Oh, you're not on it enough to.
No, I'm not on it.
You really use Twitter.
If I'm on or off.
You can't even remember if you're on Twitter or not.
I'm on because I get stuff. From Twitter, but I don't
tweet.
Post.
You don't.
No,
I'm
not a tweeter.
You don't even use the right terminology. Post. That's Facebook. That's everything else. No. But on Twitter, you tweet.
Oh, so you must be a tweeter.
I've tweeted every now and then. I've sent the tweets here and there.
So you've tweeted here and tweeted there.
Tweedledee and
Tweedledum
and Tweedledum. I'm thinking about, a lot of people getting off of the Twitter.
Yes, they're going to something new. Another one that they said is kind of cumbersome, but they're doing it anyway. Mm-hmm. And don't remember the name of the other one, but it doesn't matter. They're just leaving.
You remember the name of Twitter, but not remember the name of this other one that they're going to.
The alternate Twitter. And, I guess when you have absolute power, it can corrupt absolutely. Even if you're saying that you're doing it for the good of the company or whatever, giving people an ultimatum, not an alternative. Either you sign this document or quit your job. We're going to take away all the work at home. Forget that. So it was like, hey, it seemed like he wanted to cut people because they were, they trying to avoid bankruptcy. So he's trying to be a good business person. Take your losses, cut down first, and salvage what you can to try to make the company profitable.
Right. Yeah. That's one way to look about it. One other major thing that's been happening in the news, and we talked about this on another program, is the amount of gun violence that's been taking place. I guess we started off by talking about what happened in Buffalo, but there have been, we haven't even touched on the gun violence that happened in University of Virginia. I mentioned Walmart because that was something else that happened.
We talked about it before with Dr. Rupert Bushner. You weren't here that day.
But it's back again.
I know it keeps surfacing its ugly head. And I remember Dr. Bushner was going through methods of de-escalation before you get to that to that point.
Do you have anger problems?
No,
I don't have.
Anger.
So you never got in fights growing up?
Yeah, all the time. You live in Detroit, you're gonna get in a fight.
Right. So I know you got some anger issues.
No, it's not anger. It's called defense. Self-defense.
Self-defense.
I never had a problem with self-defense.
Gotcha.
But it's like when young people these days, everything is fast resolution instead of calm sitting down.
We can't blame it on the young people.
Well, I'm just
everybody.
Let me finish.
Okay.
I'm not saying young people. I'm saying the society that they're seeing is an influence on behavior patterns in getting things solved fast. And a lot of times when you're in the heat of anger, you're not thinking of the outcome of an action that you cause, as Dr. Busher said, will change the trajectory of your life
forever.
Just because somebody cut you off, you're gonna chase them down in your car and shoot them.
Well, another thing that since we're quoting the Reverend Bishop Dr. Bushner, one other thing that he would also mention is that hurt people.
Hurt people.
You understand?
That's true. So
There's a lot of hurting people out there.
but yeah, and when you look at the violence that's going on, you can say it's from a point of, okay, I've been I was raised in a single parent household where I didn't get the love. But then there's foundational things. That's why the church in the community and community matters, because it helps to elevate, and it provides other outlets and other alternatives to youth who may feel like they're in a hopeless situation, and the only solution that they may have is to rob someone or is to carjack someone. And when they when they buy into that into that sell that some of the bad elements may have, hey, you can do this,
Right.
get rich or die.
Right.
Get rich, die hard, die and try. But if they see that there's alternate routes, then, and see that people care, like you said, hurt people, when they see it, when they experience it, when they experience that love, that unconditional love, where they say, you're not even related to me, but you're caring for me. You want to do this for me. You want to be a big brother or a big sister. Where you don't hear a lot about the big brother, big sister programs like you used to when we were coming up. I used to see commercials about that all the time, but now it's like, but they're still active. They're still doing things, making a difference.
We don't remember. We often forget that Jesus' disciples, some of them were very violent. Right.
Had potty mouths.
Not only they had potty mouths, they sometimes wanted to kill people.
Yeah.
Remember, Peter walked around with a knife.
Yeah.
He was carrying it. Cut that man's ear off.
Yeah. So he was packing. Back in the day,
packing.
That would be called packing. He was packing.
Yeah.
Have gun, will travel.
Another disciple, got so mad. A couple of them got so mad at some people that wasn't listening to God. It's like, Lord, do you want us to call down lightning from heaven?
Right.
To destroy these
Take
people
them out.
So it's amazing what the love of God can do. Right. And people, that may sound cliche now.
Right, yeah, because we all talk. I was just gonna go in at you with that.
Go in. I'm ready for that.
I keep hearing
for the last 5 minutes.
Lovey, lovey, dovey. Are you a hippie? You brought in the hippie era. Just love. I don't make war. We make love.
Now with your wife, in terms of places that you go to and things that you don't do anymore.
For real, it's like I only do it because I love you.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't love you.
Right. For example, before my wife she loves to go to a play or Broadway play, right? If I wasn't married, I wouldn't be going to no Broadway play.
I will go to the Temptations or something like
right.
that.
Well, if she ain't,
there's a play called
The Temptations.
Right.
That's one of the plays that we went to.
Yeah.
But
somebody would have to drag me to go to something.
And you do those things because
you love.
And
although that's sometimes when you go with them, that's some of the best sleep you can get.
You ain't even right. You're not even right. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I go to these places and I actually enjoy them.
Of course you enjoy them.
You enjoy sleeping on them.
Yeah, well, on certain parts, you wake up, oh, yes. Encore.
You're not even funny, Daniel. There are some movies that you sit down and watch with your wife.
Absolutely.
There's some places you go out to eat, that you now like because of the love you have for your wife.
Or I may not like that restaurant, but I'm going to go because she likes it.
But the point I'm trying to make, you're trying to make
sacrifice. Love is sacrifice.
I'm just gonna go. I hate this place.
No,
but my wife
wants
me to go.
Yes, let's do it.
But there's some things now that I speak for myself. There's some things that I truly enjoy now and appreciate now.
Absolutely.
That my wife has shown me that I wouldn't have been into before, and
agree.
vice versa. The same for her. So we look at how that happens in an earthly marriage when we connect ourselves with God our character changes. Our attitudes change, our mindsets change, because we've fallen into this deep love with God.
Okay.
Right?
All right. So that's A.
That's A. You want B, C, D, E, F, G too?
Yeah, just the D. Well, we ain't got time. We don't have time for that.
No, we don't have time.
I didn't know the time.
The
time. I thought I had another
half hour. No, the time.
I came a little late.
Just a little bit. just a little bit late. But so the point I'm trying to make is, listen, I know it sounds cliche-ish. Cliche. I think
cliche-ish.
Yes. But really, the love of God changes people. Right?
What is the verse of the Bible? The love of God that
constraineth us. Constraineth us. It stops you from doing things because of your love for God. Joseph didn't do certain things.
So that's
because of his love for God.
On that point of anger,
mm-hmm.
that love can constrain you to not do those things that you would do.
Right.
Out of anger. After
the disciples hung out with Jesus for those 3.5 years, after he left, they didn't go around trying to kill people. They wasn't calling lightning down to try to kill people. Who else did Peter stab after Jesus died and rose from the grave? And he that was it. Yeah. That was it. Yeah, I don't even know if he still had the. I mean, he still has some.
But do you think? I'll ask you this question. It's a hard question. Do you think people want to change, or do they like the character that they may have that's not so loving because maybe they were burnt before?
Mm-hmm. But here's a problem.
So I got to look out for me.
The biggest problem we have is showing people the true love of God.
That means exposure. That means vulnerability. I learned to look out for me, number one.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean.
How do you how do you translate that into love?
You
with people with that attitude.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the bottom line is you have to show them the love of God. What does that mean? First of all, you're patient with them. You're kind to them, right? You're giving to them when they need help. And you're able to do that. Of course, you also balance that with what we call boundaries.
Boundaries, I like that.
It's kind of like a bridge, but just not a regular bridge. It's a drawbridge, right? Sometimes the bridge is down when you're willing to pay the toll. And other times the bridge goes up when you're not willing to pay the toll. Well, you ask Christ. Christ says, I'm going to put my bridge down for you. Okay, well, what is the toll? The toll is that you got to give me your life. You give me your life, and I'm going to draw the bridge down, and then you're going to have eternal life in return, right? Well, I've already paid the price for it. You just have to accept me and do everything that I tell you to do, right? So, okay, Lord, I'm willing to pay that price. You pay the price, and the drawbridge goes down, and you have a life with Christ. So the same could be with us in our relationships. We have that same effect on other people. Follow me as I follow Christ. All right. So someone's in need. Hey, listen, I'm willing to help you in that need. Oh, you are? Yes, I'm willing to help you. Well, what do you want in return? Well, in return, I want you to listen. I want you to follow these commands. Well, why would I do that? Because you have such a better life this way. Right? You have such a better life in the choices that you make when you follow me as I follow Christ.
Well, that goes into line with Giving Tuesday.
Giving
Tuesday.
Yes.
So Christ wants us to give of ourselves so we can help others and make a difference. And I say your church, your charity, organization, whatever you find to give back to. Yes. Today is a good day. Any day is a good day to give. But you find that love button. Yeah. And you push it. So make sure you donate something, even if it may not be monetarily, just your time.
Could be your time. Your talent.
Your talent. On Giving Tuesday. Today is Giving Tuesday. This is interesting. What are you gonna give? You got something to give?
Well, you just threw that on me.
It's Giving Tuesday.
But that was good. That was a good transition.
Yeah.
That was a good
We'll give good advice for those who want to call the law offices of Sean R.H. Smith.
PA. We've had to enjoy being with you today. We enjoy giving back to our community in Community Matters. Again, we're here on WOKB 1680, your urban empowerment and inspiration station. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your lunch period during this day. We look forward to spending next week with you at the same time. the same channel.
What's that number?
321-295-7801. The law offices of Sean R.A. Smith,
We'll be
PA.
giving out some free advice.
Peace.
Jesus, to walk with me, yeah. On a long pilgrim journey. Won't let nothing or no one turn me. I want Jesus, to walk.
Community Matters is brought to you by the law offices of Sean R.H. Smith.
Our practice focuses in the area of elder law. We specialize in wills, trusts, probates, and estates. Our offices are located in downtown Orlando, off of Kirkman Road as well, and even in Apopka.
And remember, a will is not a way to avoid probate.
We here at our firm like to educate you to help you avoid probate.
Join us again next week
On 1680, your urban empowerment and inspiration station, and 100.7 on your FM dial.